We are live from Giralda Plaza in Coral Gables, and welcome to the Scoop on Miami, a weekly live streaming show with a focus on Miami real estate and how it affects you and your family. The Scoop on Miami is live every single Thursday morning at 11 a.m. on our Facebook group page, which is open to the public, and we come live to you from different locations around Miami that highlight this wonderful community that we all live in. The Scoop on Miami is brought to you by One Premier International, a full-service boutique residential and commercial real estate brokerage located right here in Coral Gables, just a couple of blocks from here, providing high level of service from full-time real estate professionals. Hi everyone, I'm Ernie Emad, your weekly host and broker-owner of One Premier International. Today we come live from Giralda Plaza in beautiful Coral Gables, which captures the warmth and charm of a European piazza featuring alfresco dining, seasonal entertainment, and a unique pedestrian-only destination. Giralda Avenue, known as Restaurant Row, is now Giralda Plaza, which opened up this past September, and there's no other place like this in South Florida. Our guest today is South Florida mortgage legend Ray Duran, with over 30 years of lending experience in this very community. And he is the regional sales manager of Quantic Bank, also here in Coral Gables. And we'll also take a look at this week's real estate headlines. And our final segment will touch on what's happening around South Florida. Did you know that today is National Margarita Day? So get your margarita while it's still relatively affordable. Amid ballooning consumer demand for the spirit, the agave plant, the main ingredient in tequila, is facing a massive shortage through 2021 as the agave plant takes 7 to 8 years to mature, and the tequila industry is already warning of higher prices. So when you go out today, have an extra margarita, especially you can frequent the local pubs here. And now let's take a look at the real estate news. U.S. home construction jumped 9.7% in January. The Commerce Department reported this week that housing starts were at a pace of over 1 million units and the highest since 2016. Single-family startups were up 3.7%, multifamily were up 19.7%, and building permits up over 7%. Florida's economy is growing, the jobs outlook remains strong, and more people are moving to the Sunshine State, while mortgage rates have been rising over the last several months, but are still at favorably low levels. These are factors that are very positive signs for the real estate and the housing market here in our local market. Luxury Miami home sales posted double-digit gains, with existing condominium transactions surging year over year. According to a new report by the Miami Association of Realtors, in the luxury segment, properties over $1 million, Miami condo sales jumped 47% year over year, and single-family home sales rose by over 16%. Luxury sellers are becoming more realistic with their asking prices, and buyers are coming off the sidelines. In other news, federal tax reforms is also starting to have an impact as more northeastern buyers are opting to purchase in Miami to escape higher taxes they could face in their states like New York and New Jersey. The federal tax reform, which was signed into law on December 22nd this past year, sets deduction caps for income, sales, and property taxes at $10,000, and the new cap could lead more residents of states with higher property values and state income tax to purchase properties in states like Florida, which has no income tax and a pro-business structure. So if you're thinking about purchasing in Miami and you're from a different state, give us a call at One Premier International. The lack of access to mortgage loans continues to inhibit further growth of the existing condominium market. Of the over 9,300 condominium buildings in Miami-Dade County and Broward counties, only 12 are approved by the Federal Housing Administration. Loans are down from 29 last year. So according to Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations, as well as the FHA, there's just not enough FHA-approved condominiums. More than 6 consecutive years of price appreciation in Miami-Dade County for single-family homes, which increased by over 6.5% in January. the median home price was just over $330,000. However, the average home sale in Miami was $513,922, and that was up 16%, marking 73 consecutive months of continuous price appreciations in South Florida. The condo market is the same way. They're getting tremendous amount of appreciation considering what it was back on a year ago. So it's time for buyers to get off the fence and begin to purchase, because the combination of rising interest rates as well as values will become more and more expensive for buyers to purchase in South Florida. So you need to make sure that you're working with the professional realtors like those at One Premier International, as costs will continue to rise. In other news across South Florida, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening with the local economy as we're finding inventories are at an all-time high, and that's going to continue to bounce values on a higher level. So make sure that you make a decision as soon as possible to be able to purchase a home here in South Florida. Again, there's a lack of inventory in homes under $600,000, and when you're talking about homes in the $300,000 range, which is the median price in Miami, realtors are seeing more than multiple offers, and they're selling for above listed price. So as a buyer, it becomes very tough in this particular market to be able to purchase if you're not working with the right realtor that can give you the proper information. And our realtors here at One Premier International are all professionals and trained on how to find the best properties for our buyers. Miami real estate prices, listings are actually closing very close to the listed price. And Miami home sales, it was just 49 days on the market, and just a little over 90 days from the moment they went on sale to the moment they did the closing, with lower priced properties going under contract as fast as 10 days or less, and some of them are going within the first few days. For condominiums, also the closing period went down to 101 days. Miami single-family homes, again, are receiving 94.9% of the market, as it continues to be a seller's market for property under $600,000. If you'll excuse us, we're all aware of, there's a lot of construction going around South Florida, and specifically Coral Gables continues to grow, and it was very quiet prior to going on the air, and well, as soon as we go on the air, we get a little noise in the background, so excuse that. By the way, Miami cash buyers represent about double what the national cash transactions are. Miami had 39.3% of all sales for cash compared to 42% of a year ago. That transaction amount has doubled. The national figure is 20%. On next week's show, we'll be live from Black Point Marina in Cutler Bay. We have an exciting lineup. Next week, it's all about first-time home buyers. You don't want to miss this next Thursday. Our guest will be Monica Benitez. She's a first-time home buyer expert and an agent at One Premier International. And she helped last year alone dozens of families realize their American dream of owning a property and owning a home. So if you know of somebody that's renting, or you yourself are renting, where's that money going to? You know, with as little as first, last, and security, you can reserve your brand new home, and there are plenty of programs or government programs that will assist new home buyers with down payment assistance. There are lenders and developers that are actually helping with closing costs. So you no longer need the $25,000 to $30,000 if you're a tenant to buy a home. With very little money down, you can purchase a home. So tell your friends and family. Next week, Thursday, we're going to be coming live from Black Point with Monica Benitez, and it's a program specializing or focusing strictly on first-time home buyers. So if you like what you're hearing, share our Facebook group page, which is a public page, and like it. It's called The Scoop on Miami. And now let me introduce you to Ray Duran. He is the Florida Regional Manager of Quantic Bank, with over 30 years of lending experience. He's a veteran South Floridian. So please join me in welcoming to the Scoop of Miami, on Miami, Ray Duran. Hi Ray, how are you?
Hey, Ernie.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Pleasure being here.
So tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been in the business, specifically in South Florida, and a little bit about Quantic Bank.
Well, I've been in the business doing mortgages for retail banking for over 25 years. Quantic Bank individually is a boutique bank. We're based in New York City with an expertise in mortgages. What that means is that we have specialized in portfolio loans, foreign nationals. We also have a light doc program for owner-occupied buyers that goes up to $3 million. This is for a client with good credit, with a minimum down payment of 25% down. It's a program that nobody else has in the whole industry, and we're very aggressive with it. It's a great program. Light doc means the documentation that we get from the purchaser is very limited. A letter from the accountant, P&L, unverified documents, credit scores over 700. That's a great program. We also have a very aggressive condominium program that goes to 90% combined loan to value with no condo questionnaire.
And that's important because there are condominiums here in South Florida that just don't have the reserves, and you're going to be able to give them those loans.
Yeah, condominium financing here in Miami sometimes can be a challenge. We are expert at this. We're very aggressive on it, and we've been very successful where a lot of other lenders and banks have not been able to do the loan. We can. We also offer a lot of portfolio lending for programs and projects that cannot get any kind of financing. Hotel condos, we can do foreign national hotel condos, we can do light dock hotel condos. We're very aggressive on that side, not to mention your standard Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA loans.
You know, if you're a realtor or a buyer, South Florida is known for many entrepreneurs, and they're 1099 people. And in many cases, that complicates things if you're going to go to a vanilla regular bank. And Ray has been able to provide loans to our agents. But as well, if you're a realtor and you have a 1099 and somebody has been denied, definitely check Ray out, give him a call. Ray, what is your phone number?
Our phone number at the office is 305-894-1139. Feel free to give us a call anytime. We're always on call.
So tell us a little bit about your portfolio loans and what sets Quantic Bank apart from the rest here in South Florida.
We have a mortgage mentality. That means Quantic Bank, the owners of Quantic Bank are mortgage people. We all speak the same language. When we look at a file, we look at the file, does it make sense? We do foreign nationals from Venezuela. Nobody else looks at them. When we look at the individual, we look at the big picture. If it makes sense, we're going to do that loan. We do loans in all 50 states. We're not limited to Florida or South Florida. We do New York, Florida, California, Texas, everywhere. We blanket the country with our programs. We're making a very, very aggressive push to expand, and we look at a file and we look at how can we make this file work. Instead of looking at it and say, well, this doesn't work, it's dead. We look at it and say, well, maybe this way it's a little difficult, but if we put it in this program, we'll make it fly. So we're number one on working customer service with the realtors and with the clients. Our number one goal is to satisfy our customers.
Don't think that because another lender turned down your buyer, or if you're a buyer that you've been turned down, that you can't get a loan. I want you to give Ray at Quantic Bank an opportunity to earn your business. There's no question that he is able to look at credit, he's able to look at somebody's complete financial and make the adjustments necessary to make sure loans get approved. And if you're a buyer, every month that goes by, values are going up, and we know that interest rates are at their highest point since December of 2016. And for the foreseeable future, we're going to see interest rates go up. So I want you to make the decision now to purchase as opposed to later, because it just keeps costing more. What else can you tell me about Quantic Bank?
Ernie, I'm glad you mentioned the credit issue. We work with a lot of clients that have credit issues, and we'll look at their credit and we'll say, well, how can we help this client? A lot of times we'll work with a client and we'll do a rescore on them and we'll help them, not just to get them the loan, but to get them at a better interest rate. That's extremely important to us, that the client gets the best possible deal there is in the market. So we look at the picture, we look at the client, and we say, how can we make this better? And that's what we're good at. We're extremely creative, and we're very good at what we do.
Very good. What else? Anything else that you want to bring up about Quantic Bank and additional loan programs that you may have that you may not have brought up so far?
Sure. We have loans for investors that are based on the debt flow, the cash flow of the property, the debt service. So you may have an investor who has good credit, but he doesn't show any income. But the property he's buying cash flows. We'll look at that loan and we'll make that loan happen. As long as the numbers are there, we'll look at that loan and we'll look at the investment property as our main subject. We'll also do non-recourse commercial loans, which is a very big deal.
Good. Remember that many times if you go to what we call a vanilla bank, one of the big boxes, and you go into the office and you fill out a loan application, this gets shipped out to another state. You have underwriters in another state. Once it goes there, they typically become more difficult to work. What about your underwriters, your appraisal people? Tell me a little bit about that.
We're all in-house. Everything we do is in-house. Our office is located right here in Coral Gables at 2121 Ponce. Everybody that works on the file, you'll be talking to personally. You can actually go to them and meet them if you'd like to. And you're not dealing with somebody in Texas or in North Carolina or in Georgia, Virginia. Everybody here will be working on your file, and that's our number one concern.
You know, that's important because that means that their appraisers and underwriters have local market knowledge. And that's very important when you're dealing with a customer, because if you lose the loan, you lose the deal, and in many cases, you also lose the customer. So you want to make sure, and I've been working with Ray for over 17 years. He's also done my personal loans and family loans. So with full trust, I can definitely vouch for his services and the way he works.
Ernie, it's a pleasure being here.
Very good. Thank you for being on the Scoop on Miami. And give them one more time, what is your telephone number, the Quantic Bank's number to contact?
Our phone number, 305-894-1139.
Perfect. Great. Thanks a lot again. Thank you so much. You bet. All right, so now we're going to take a look at what's happening here in South Florida. And we know the big event, and that's going to take the monster event. Before I do that, last week was the yacht show in Miami Beach, and the yacht show has moved. That was the last year there across from the Fontainebleau at 4600 Collins Avenue. They are moving to where the old Miami Herald site is on Biscayne Bay. That's going to bring them a lot closer to the Miami International Boat Show venue, which happens at Marine Stadium Marina there on Virginia Key. The next thing we want to talk about is the 17th annual South Beach Wine and Food Festival. That brings over 90 events. It started yesterday, and it brings all of the top celebrities and chefs from around the world that we all know, and you get to taste a little bit about everything. So find out a little bit more about the Beach Food and Wine Festival. That's happening, already started yesterday and goes through Sunday. I'd like to take everybody, take the time to thank you for joining us on a weekly basis. If you missed last week's episode, we were live from the 50th floor of the Brickell Heights. That's the pool deck, and we had beautiful views, beautiful weather, looking Biscayne Bay, Miami Beach, the Atlantic Ocean. It was just a perfect setting. We interviewed Paolo Simonetti, which is a realtor with One Premier International, also a property manager, and he currently has a unit for sale, a lower penthouse, and you can reach Paolo Simonetti at miamitopproperties.com. Again, next week's show will be live from Black Point Marina. It's all about first-time home buyers, so share it with your family and friends, and tell anybody that you know that is currently renting that there's a way for them to be able to purchase a home in today's market. And they've got to move and act quickly, because as prices continue to skyrocket in South Florida because of the lack of inventory, it may mean that if they don't take action now, they may be tenants for the foreseeable future. And if you're paying $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 a month, and you've been doing this for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars are going out the door, and you can't own your new home. I'd like to thank you for joining us on the Scoop on Miami. That's on our our public group page on Facebook. You can also follow us on the One Premier International YouTube channel. And this show will also be on video on demand on the One Premier International Facebook page, the Scoop on Miami page, as well as the Miami One Premier International YouTube channel. I'm Ernie Emad, your host and broker owner of One Premier International, and thanks for joining us.